I was in West Palm Beach and Donald Trump was speaking there. It was a Turning Point USA Faith Summit. And that's one of the things he said during his speech was that this will not be allowed. I will make sure that girls don't have to compete against boys and women don't have to compete against men. And the roar in the crowd was deafening for many topics, but especially that one. I guess that gives me hope and a reminder to everybody, the cliche that elections have consequences, and this is a really big one. I will tell you this also, being at that summit, being in airports and hotels constantly now around the country, and I know everybody on this panel is, that's the one thing that people come up to me and say, oh my gosh, thank you, which I'm just talking, I'm just stating the obvious, I thought, but continuing to push on it. And they say, please don't stop, because I'm concerned for my niece. It isn't sometimes just our daughter. I told you this, Megyn, before. My girls, their competitive days are long over. This isn't about me or my kids. It's about you and your kids and everybody else. So I can just say from being out that this is such an important topic for millions and millions of people. And we're seeing the dangers, of course, what we talked about with the volleyball player from North Carolina. We're seeing a lot of questions right now across the pond in Paris and boxing, et cetera. This isn't going to go away. And I just know that if we get quiet now, we too will, and I don't mean this, I guess I could mean this literally and figuratively, but blood on our hands from the potential of what has happened, of course, in the past and what could continue to happen. I feel like I have no choice but to continue to speak up. And especially, Michele, you and I have done so much work on this through the years with women and pushing women in sports and more highlights. And let's focus on the WNBA. Let's focus on women in fantasy football and those numbers and how much women love sports. And the silence in our industry is still deafening to me and maddening.
It is. And Megyn, you pointed out the boxing in the Olympics. Years ago, when this was a very, very small sort of fringe issue, I remember people saying, this is not a big deal. This is so rare. Come on. This is not like it's widespread. It is now in the Olympic Games, in one of the most devastatingly violent sports, boxing. So to suggest that this is now a fringe thing, no, it's not. We see constantly cyclists. I talked to a skateboarder yesterday who I interviewed on my podcast. They are losing their positions on the podiums. They are losing dollars. They are losing sponsorships. And you know what else they're losing? They're losing their spirit and their faith in humanity. That, wait a minute, I thought we had girls divisions, women's divisions for a reason. We do. I remember when Title IX passed, I was a little girl and my dad said to me, you are going to have opportunities my sisters never had, your mom never had. And I believe that people like Sage and I were able to carve out careers in sports. Title IX was at the root of that. Now we could play, now we could participate, and that made us more, I guess, legitimate as commentators. But so this is no longer fringe. And I just keep waking up every day and going, what the hell are we doing?
Well, you think about the Olympics underway right now. And as I mentioned, Jennifer, you were a world-class athlete in gymnastics. And we just won. Team USA won gold. And you think that's great. All these people cheering on Team USA. Yeah. I mean, where are you to stand up to stop boys who would crush these girls in 9 out of 10 events? I don't know, maybe not the balance beam. I'm not sure. But in most of these events, to speak up for their safety and their fairness.
You know what, Megyn, I used to think women's gymnastics was safe from this, but I've found a little rabbit hole on Instagram where there's males doing women's gymnastics, and they're competing in the NAIA, although they're the only governing body that actually made the correct rule, which is women's sports needs to be for biological females only. So I actually think because of the way the sport has changed, gymnastics, and it's so much about power and strength, and the extreme difficulty, and it's much less about grace and flexibility than it used to be. I actually think men would crush in women's gymnastics too, unfortunately. And they have their own gymnastics. Do your own gymnastics and leave us alone.
They have their own boxing. They have their own everything.
They have their own everything.
It's so astonishingly retrograde, Megyn, that, these women are being told, these girls and women are being told to sit down and shut up and, take the punch like a man or a woman. And you know,
Right.
Don't complain, because to be nice, you need to let this guy beat the crap out of you. Well, no, we're not doing that. And, you know, 70% of Americans agree with us. I actually think it's probably higher than that. That's the latest Gallup anonymous poll. I think people are even afraid to say they're on our side on this issue when they are told it's anonymous, because you do get buried for it. I mean, the voicemails I get, how people get my number, I don't know, just threatening, horrible. And for all the standing up I've done in my life, this is for sure. Well, I don't know, COVID was pretty bad, but this one's really, really bad in terms of the dragging you get. But I will tell you this, every time I wear this t-shirt to the soccer game on the weekend, and I have a 7-year-old daughter, every person leans in and they say, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love your shirt.
And I say,
I love your shirt.
Then say it out loud.
They shouldn't have to whisper. They shouldn't have to whisper.
That's
Can I point out real quick also what's happened with the Olympics and where we are now? Because we say, okay, I believe, and actually numbers show 70 to 80% of Americans, I mean, this isn't even really divided along political lines, agree with us and what we're saying. And women should not have to compete against boys or men, period. At the Olympics, there has been some progress since the last Olympics in Tokyo. And so now, and Jennifer, you'll get the terminology perfect for me, but 12 years old, is that the line where then based on hormone therapy, or if you've begun to transition before 12, anything after 12, it's a no. But they're leaving it up to the sports in particular to make the rules. I'm trying to remember which sport it is, that one has a female category and one has an open category. To me, that is the solution. What I wish is that the IOC would have the balls to just make that the rule for all sports, period, and not leave it up to the separate sports, what we're seeing right now in boxing. So again, I want to emphasize Jennifer's, idea behind this whole thing. This is not about discriminating against transgender people, because I absolutely believe there is a place. I want everybody to compete in sports. Sports is the one unifier we have on this planet, where for a couple of hours on a football Sunday, we all come together, and race and religion and politics and socioeconomic status don't matter. We're dividing it. We're making it worse by doing that. They belong in this too, not with women. You have a women category and you have an open category, and you're done with it, and women are safe.
But can I just say, I think you're right, and you're definitely a nicer person than I am. Hungry Root is one very easy way to eat healthy. They send you fresh, high-quality groceries, simple, delicious recipes, and essential supplements. It's like having someone else do all the planning and shopping, so you don't even have to think about it. This is what we need. Hungry Root gets to know your personal health goals, dietary restrictions, favorite foods, how much time you want to spend cooking, and more. And then they build you a personalized cart for the week, including easy 4-ingredient recipes to put those groceries to use. Each order is fully customizable. They've got fresh produce, high-quality meat, healthy snacks, and more. Everything from Hungry Root follows a simple standard. It's got to taste good, it's got to be quick to make, and it's got to contain whole, trusted ingredients. Hungry Root is now offering the Megyn Kelly Show viewers 40% off your first delivery and free veggies for life. How does that work? Go to hungryroot.com to find out /Megyn. hungryroot.com/Megyn. Get 40% off your first delivery and get your free veggies. hungryroot.com/MEGYN. Don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.